Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, August 14th from the San Antonio Express News. My name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect sunny skies and a high of about 104 in San Antonio today. A heat advisory is in place for today, and more are possible over the weekend. Meteorologists say it will be the hottest weekend of the year. How do you keep a children's museum safe in the era of COVID-19? The crew at the Museum in San Antonio sanitizes galleries and swaps out thousands of props between visitor shifts. We followed their routine and will have a behind-the-scenes report today. This weekend, Mission Concepcion will observe its annual double solar illumination during the feast day of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, with a special online presentation at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And now, let's move on to the top stories for the day. Across the region, many are hard at work doing everything from designing spacecraft and sensors, developing the world's largest telescopes, building space robots, testing survivability of lunar habitats, maintaining NASA ground equipment, helping resupply the International Space Station, providing computer tech support to astronauts, and much, much more. Over the past 5 years, NASA has awarded more than $1.3 billion in grants and contracts to 24 San Antonio companies, universities, and organizations. Add that to contracts and subcontracts with dozens of companies in the space sector, and the financial impact to San Antonio and South Texas is much greater. It's also likely to increase. In our latest collaboration with Report for America, Brandon Lingle takes a deep dive on the city's space history and how San Antonio is in position to become a major space player. A day after the City Council discussed a proposed $8 million increase in San Antonio's police spending, community organizers and police reform advocates slammed the budget plan as a complete disregard for our lives and our tax dollars. A dozen Black community organizers gathered in a downtown park Thursday under the sweltering afternoon sun to decry the city's plans to raise police spending, despite widespread calls to redirect some of the police funding to social service programs that could improve health and prevent crime. Marina Starley-Freiker talked to members of the San Antonio Coalition for Police Accountability and about their priorities and why they say the pressure is on city leaders. Mayor Ron Nirenberg's proposal to use $154 million in sales tax revenue to pay for San Antonio's post-pandemic economic recovery is now in the hands of voters. By a 9-2 vote on Thursday morning, the City Council agreed to put the matter on the November ballot amid concerns over the fate of two programs now funded by the sales tax, including one aimed at protecting the city's source of drinking water. Find out why some City Council members voted the way they did in a report from Joshua Fechter. Gilbert Garcia writes, quote, President Donald Trump either doesn't realize or doesn't care that the thing he loves, the Electoral College, should guarantee that the thing he despises, universal mail-in voting, will have a negligible effect on this year's presidential election. This year, long voting lines won't just be an inconvenience. They could put the health of voters and election workers at risk. That's why County Commissioner Justin Rodriguez's new proposal to open up space and time for the voting process is so welcome. You can read more about the proposal Garcia says would make voting easier and more accessible at the link in the episode's description. To keep our readers up to date on the path of COVID-19, the Express News has built a dashboard of interactive graphics showing the spread of the virus in the San Antonio area, in Texas as a whole, and across the United States. We've also created an interactive map of San Antonio for COVID-19 testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find a link to the dashboard and the interactive map in this episode's description. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. The coronavirus pandemic has taken another 15 lives in Bexar County, most of them Hispanic, bringing the local death toll to 560, according to a report by the Metropolitan Health District on Thursday. The FBI San Antonio Field Office has launched an independent review into the actions of 4 San Antonio police officers at the request of the police chief, weeks after the officers were fired for excessive use of force. The Spurs have been eliminated from the Western Conference playoff race and are now ticketed for the draft lottery for the first time since the 96-97 season. They lost to the Utah Jazz 118-112 in their final game in the NBA's bubble. A statue of Christopher Columbus is not going back to the downtown park where it stood for 63 years. On Thursday, the city council formally approved the change, voting unanimously to return the life-size likeness to the Italian Society and to rename the park. 15 in-store H-E-B employees in San Antonio have tested positive for COVID-19 in August, according to the grocery store chain's website. The youngest deputy to be hired by the Bexar County Sheriff's Office and his fiancée died after the pickup truck they were driving in was hit by an 18-wheeler on Wednesday night in San Patricio County. Calling it a historic day for San Antonio, Emotional Via Metropolitan Transit Board members voted unanimously Thursday to put a ballot initiative before voters on November 3rd that they said would guarantee the struggling agency a long-lasting source of funding. Incarnate Word will not play football this fall, as the Southland Conference on Thursday announced a decision to postpone fall athletics in response to the coronavirus pandemic. The San Antonio Express-News editorial board writes, quote, "Not allowing voters an opportunity to vote is no minor matter. The Alamo College's district was wrong in not allowing community input before voting to postpone the election." Kamala Harris's father and mother were born in Jamaica and India respectively, but Harris herself is a natural-born citizen and eligible to be President of the United States, contrary to a viral claim. On Thursday, a federal judge tossed a case brought by 6 San Antonio barbershops against State Farm for losses sustained after they were forced to shut down to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. This year was shaping up to be the best ever for 5-star cleaners based on January and February results, but business has dropped off significantly since then. The dry cleaning business has 14 stores, primarily on San Antonio's north side. The decline has been so precipitous that 64-year-old Richard and his 60-something wife Charlene, president and vice president of SA 5-Star Cleaners, say they may have to close some of their stores if business doesn't eventually pick up. The Thumbs recently discussed how they got into the dry cleaning business, how the pandemic has changed it, and their role in taking down a longtime local politician. You can find that Q&A at the link in the episode's description. So what does fine dining look like in the middle of a crisis? At Bliss, Restaurant Gwendolyn, and Botika, it looks like fried oyster sliders and pan-seared dumplings. It looks like roasted duck and braised short ribs. Mike Sutter takes you to 3 of San Antonio's top restaurants offering fine dining on the cheap during the now month-long Culinaria Restaurant Week. With triple-digit temperatures in the forecast this week, one San Antonio Resort's water park pass could be coming just in time. Hyatt Regency Hill Country Resort and Spa, located on the far west side, now offers day passes Monday through Thursday. The Texarkana Mamas, Tish Hinojosa, Stephanie Urbina Jones, and Patricia Vaughn talk about their first album and the immigration and border politics behind it. Gray Whale Gin from the Sebastopol, California-based Golden State Distillery is now available on shelves across Texas, and a portion of every sale supports maritime conservation through the well-known international organization Oceana. The HBO series Lovecraft Country is filled with all sorts of memorable monsters and supernatural predicaments that not only make you jump, but think. The 10-episode series premieres 8 p.m. on Sunday. Calvin Finch has your guide to fall nectar-producing plants for San Antonio gardens, while Neil Sperry answers readers' questions about yucca growth and more. And that's all for today. This is your Express Briefing. My name is Luis Vasquez. please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I'll see you Monday.